of the world, and we are so excited to connect with you today or tonight. Where are you joining us from? Be sure to comment. We really want to know where you're from.
Hi, my name is Ayumi. I'm from Tokyo, Japan. Oh,
Hello, everybody. My name is Georgia and I'm from Torino, Italy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Debo Ray coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts.
And I'm Annette Phillip from Kerala, India. We also want to introduce and thank a very, very dear friend of ours, Rohit Jayaraman. Will you come to the stage, please? The stage. Rohit is an incredible musician and he's been so kind to help Women of the World for this show. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you, Ro. Mwah! And most importantly, our audience from all over the world, thank you for being here today, especially considering the time zone differences. Thank you.
and I would love to share a little background. So this Women of the World's fourth Knock Knock concert. And when lockdown happened because of this pandemic, everyone was isolated. So Knock Knock is about visiting each other's home and sharing stories and feeling connected.
That's right. However, over the last few months, Knock Knock took on a very different meaning for us at Women of the World. We felt it was more like knock knock. In a sense, to wake up. There's so much going on around us that we need to be aware of, educate ourselves about, and to act upon as a community. So the four of us in Women of the World have been doing our own course of study, research, debate, discussion, learning about racism, Black history in the United States and globally, as well as the Black Lives Matter movement.
And so for the next few months, we are dedicating our online Knock Knock concert series to amplify Black voices. And today we present our second concert in the Black Voices Amplified series. No, we realize that we have this platform as Women of the World and we can take a stand on these issues. And by studying about it, we finally understood the gravity of the situation. And there is a call to action like never before.
That's right. So, Women of the World is taking this opportunity to showcase different nuances of Blackness. We recognize that Blackness, it's not a singular trait. So, depending where you're from, your experience with Blackness will be different.
Yeah, living most of my life in Japan, I realized facing different races and ethnicity was not so common in our daily lives, but that's also changing these days. And my wish is to continue studying about history and share what I learned to my own Japanese community.
And conversation, we feel, is the key for communities to bring about any change, any kind of change. When you have an open conversation, you get exposed to different perspectives that over time can help break down patterns in your own individual thought process, which is what our show is all about.
And so, we have our Black Voices Amplified series. We want to bring you stories. We want to talk about history. We want to learn from each other's personal experiences. We want to share the many faces of Blackness. And we want to grow into a more open world. We want to learn how to create a more free world, a more just world, a more kind world. Because, see, this is someone's story. Therefore, it's our collective story.
That's right. So before we start, we have a few important questions we would love for all of you to keep in mind. Feel free to write answers to these questions in the chat if you feel comfortable. Firstly, what do I think a Black artist sounds like? What do I know of Black culture that I really enjoy? When I hear the word Black, what images come to mind? And lastly, is there something about Blackness that makes me uncomfortable? We will come back to reflect on these questions at the end of our concert.
Our hope with Knock Knock is not only to showcase incredible artists that you're about to hear, but also to support them in all ways possible. So here are some ways you can support the artists. We cannot see you, but we can read your comments and they help lift the energy up of our show. And so write those questions you have and how you feel about the music during the entire show anytime. and follow their artist page on social media and donate to their PayPal account. So you see a ticker below the videos, and let's support them.
That's right. Because, for Women of the World, our Knock Knock concert series, they're really a passion project.
And we invest our own funds in each concert because we feel this is an important cause. And we're excited to use our platform to celebrate Black artists from all over the world.
So, in order for us to do this work and continue doing it, we do need your support. And this past week, we put out a call to the global WOW community, the WOW family. Our promise was that anyone who kindly donated more than $20 to WOW's PayPal account would get a special shout out during our Knock Knock concert.
And so we want to thank our first donors ever. Drum roll, please.
Thank you to Lauren Madden.
Thank you to Nitish Bharadwaj.
And thank you to Sunny Rodriguez.
So grateful. Thank you so much. We are really grateful to each one of you. Every little bit counts, and it just means a lot to us that you would consider supporting us. So anyone else who would like to donate and support this production, these kind of programs, you will see our PayPal in the chat right now, as well as underneath on the screen.
So during the show, you're going to see every other artist that's going to be performing tonight's PayPal account on the screen as well at the bottom.
And, while we have no idea when live performances will be back, music, it's truly not canceled, and music is alive and well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the show.
Let's give it up for our first performer, Jijo, who is an artist of Ghanaian American descent.
We don't have to ask for it, but freedom is rather in our choosing. Sometimes if we don't know the words we hum, sometimes if we don't know the words we hum, sometimes if we don't know the words we My Coco just told me that my cousin drowned. She tells me that my cousin just passed away. Tells me that I must not tell his mother, my auntie, because they're scared for what may happen to the baby. But see, morning come and nighttime go, and my Coco is getting dressed for the funeral. She tells me that I must stay to console my auntie. And I ask her why a mother isn't attending her own child's funeral, and she looks at me and she says, in our culture, a pregnant woman isn't allowed to attend a funeral. And because I overthink, I began to think about when we are pregnant with dreams, how we must be very protective to those things, how we must not hang around dead places, dead people, or dead things, how we must be very protective to the seed that has been birthed within us. See, sometimes when we don't know the words we hum, sometimes when we don't know the words we hum, sometimes if we don't know the words we hum, World goes round, world goes round and round and round. World is almost spinning, but now it spins. World keeps on spinning and spinning and spinning, and people are getting sick, but it keeps on spinning. Then suddenly, people get sick. People get sick and can't operate off of world spinning, but world still spins until it slows down. Then people yell, stop! World slowed down, but it doesn't stop. It just slows down. I think the people are starting to realize that they can't operate off of spin. I think they're starting to recognize that spin is not healthy to their detriment. But the world slowly picks it up, slowly moves around and around until it's starting to spin again. But people are tired. People are... Sometimes when we don't know the words we hum. Sometimes when we don't know the words we Man gets cuffed. Man gets wrestled to the floor. Man gets wrestled some more. Man yells, you're hurting me, but man gets wrestled by more mans. Man yells, man is uncomfortable. Then man yells, you're treating me like fucking black people. And everyone stops. And everyone scrolls. And everyone just stops. And just scrolls. Man Black girl graduates. Black girl graduates and she goes and gets a job. Black girl loves job. Black girl is serving in her job. Black girl loves to serve. Black girl loves to save, but she loves to serve. Black girl goes home. Black girl lays down in her bed. Black girl is resting. Black girl never rests, but she is resting. Black girl sleeps. And black girl sleeps. And black girl sleeps. Then mans come into her room. Mans come into her house unannounced and kill black girl in her sleep. Black girl sleeps forever. Sometimes when we don't know the words we hum. Sometimes when we don't know the words we hum. Sometimes when we don't know the words we hum. The black girl speaks of praising. Oh, speak, black girl, what do you do? I praise. What is your reality? How do you endure them? How do you take them? I praise. They call you mules. Wear the world on your back and judge by how you carry. How do you endure them? How do you take them, dear? I praise. They placed the crown upside down while you bleed and called you queen. How, girl? Do you still invoke them? I praise. What right have you in all your wholeness to demystify, to be genuine, to carry heaviness, to dream? I praise. When do you have time to decolonize? What right have you in all your wholeness to imagine, to destroy, to love, to know, to surrender, to create an illusion to strength, to see or be seen, or even just to be? Learn to praise. Sometimes if we don't know the words we hum, sometimes if we don't know the words, freedom, freedom.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, Jijo.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jijo. Thank you. It was a powerful way to start the our evening, our day. Wow. Jijo, when we look at history and we see how in the black community for generations upon generations one had to earn their freedom. It was not a choice, right? It was not even considered birthright. And today in so many different ways people all over the world are still in shackles of some form of other, whether it's because of discrimination of race or how they shackle themselves under expectation or obligation. And in one of your messages to us, you said that you hoped everyone adopted freedom. Talk to us about that. How do you adopt freedom daily? And what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think first I definitely want to honor you guys for even bringing me on this amazing show. And I want to kind of speak a little bit about your question. I think in history, you know, we've been taught that they didn't experience freedom as we know it, but I think that there is a form of freedom that they did get to experience, and it was in their own choosing. I know we a lot of times, especially as Africans, we like to speak about the Africans who were enslaved, who were forced to come to America to work. And most times when we think about their own freedom, you know, we think, oh well, they have to travel to the north. And even in that, you know, they were still enslaved in certain areas. And so I think for me, right, I'll say that in my own freedom or my idea of freedom is choosing, it's being. And I look at my ancestors who were enslaved in the South, and you know chose to come to the North, or chose to go to church and praise and worship in their own relationship with God. But it wasn't. I think that they got to choose what freedom looked like for them in those very moments. Even if we look back on it now and say it was a form of survival. And I think I don't like to say that they didn't get to experience freedom. I think that's almost limiting to their own experience. And even though we don't define the same form of freedom now, I think that they did get to experience freedom, even if we don't connect to whatever definition we have now as they did before. But to answer the real question, freedom is being, freedom is choosing. As much as we like to think of freedom as being a plain field, as us running around naked in the sun while jazz is playing, that's my form of freedom. But sometimes freedom is I'm going to take a nap right now, or I'm going to stay up till 5 in the morning and watch um, anything but what I'm supposed to be doing, which is sleeping, you know? And I think that freedom is just that choosing and being. And I think if we all adopted that in our life, then we would almost get rid of the expectation that we're supposed to get wealth in order to experience this freedom, or we're supposed to get something, or there's something that's supposed to be on the other side of the green grass that we're supposed to experience before we adopt freedom.
Actually, I love that because it puts the onus back on us, and we always have what you're saying is basically we always have that choice,
Yes,
right?
yes,
I did want to ask one more thing about the piece that you just presented. You said sometimes when we don't know the words, we hum, and talk to us about that. Where did that come from?
Yeah. So I grew up in the South, but I'm also African. So I went to two different churches growing up, one African and one a Southern church. And one was my godmother's and the other was my father's, who was a minister. And most times there will be testimony time, and testimony time is usually where the elders show out, meaning that's when they get the mic and it's their turn to speak.
Ah,
And something and when you imagine the oldest person in your family, they get to say whatever it is that they want, and everybody can't say nothing back to them. And so when the elders would get the mic, usually they would talk for a long period of time, but sometimes they get to a moment in which they'll start singing a song.
hmm.
And elders don't remember words often, so they either make it up or they start humming. And
Ah,
so what I found was that in both churches, although it was two different experiences, right? We had West Africans who were immigrants, and we had
yeah.
African Americans who they had centuries, and probably their ancestors were enslaved. So what I found was that it was a similar experience where elders would get the mic and just start humming. And what was powerful is that the whole church would hum too, although we knew the words,
Mm.
but we dare not say the words, because what was happening was is that this elder had the mic and she was almost communicating this heart language to God. And then an audience or the church rather would sing along because they also understood that language as well. And they didn't need to say the words because we knew like this meant something. This is a language that only God can understand and we can experience because we know what that feels like. And so when I was saying that sometimes when we don't know the words, we hum. All of these experiences that we have or we are placed in sometimes, whether it be our own rage or being able to experience dreams and visions and goals that we have for ourselves. But there are moments in which we don't really have the words to explain these things, but we know we have this experience. And so that was more so like for myself, just adopting what the elders are saying. All right, I'm gonna just hum. Because although I know I'm angry right now, the world is going in absolute chaos. It's uncertain. I'm angry. I know it's anger, right? But I don't have the words to explain it. I don't know what to tell you to make you feel better. I'm still feeling all of it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, you know what? When you don't know the words, just hum. Because then there's a heart language that maybe I can communicate to you that my words wouldn't be able to do. Or even in my own relationship with God, being like, God, I'm just tired, and I don't have to say it. I could just hum it. And maybe it'll get me through that moment. Maybe it'll get me through that day, and maybe it won't. But I'm humming, and as long as my language is speaking, as long as I'm still speaking, it's still freedom. I'm still choosing, and
There
it's
you
for
go.
that moment.
There you go. You're still choosing.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Gija.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, many times I want to hum these last 10 days. I don't know what to say, but I know I want to hum.
Yeah. And you know what's powerful about that? Everyone can hum. It doesn't take
Right.
talent
Yeah.
to do it. Like we all get to hum together, and it doesn't even take talent. Like you don't need to be skilled in a specific tune. You just do
Yeah.
it.
I feel like doing it now for a second.
Do
Shall
it.
we? Just do
Do
it.
it.
Right. Let's do it.
I hope y'all are doing it too. You're welcome. Hum with us. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Jijo.
you, Gija. We'll see you in just a bit.
Yes.
And now we are extremely excited to host our very own Deborah Ray.
Woohoo!
While for the most part we are curating and showcasing artists outside of Women of the World, it felt just right to showcase Debo, as what you see of each one of us in Women of the World is literally just one facet of our art. So Debo, we are so, so proud of you, girl.
Yeah! Go, girl. You better sing.
Embed in people's consciousness that Black joy should be celebrated. Sometimes the grass ain't greener on the other side. And maybe the sky is clear in another place. But you got diamonds under your feet, feet, feet. But you got diamonds in your heart. Waiting for a day of change to come. And you're beautiful, dancing in a gloomy storm. But you got diamonds under your feet, feet, feet. Oh, you got diamonds in your heart. And you've got diamonds in your heart. Hey everyone. I'm so honored. I feel privileged to be a part of this Knock Knock. As a member of Women of the World, that they gave me the opportunity to showcase some of what I'm doing personally, and especially with the subject matter at hand. I feel like it's really important to showcase different sides of Blackness, yes, and to also be able to showcase songs of hope and songs of reverence, songs of uplifting, songs that make you feel good about yourself and about your station. That's kind of like medicine, especially since things happening lately tend to be traumatic. So what I'm hoping is that my music can serve the purpose of making you feel good. So this next song is an original of mine by my band Fat Luca, called The Game, and I hope that you feel the vibe. Here we go. The day is done, another evening has begun, a chance to stretch and unwind. Take off your shoes, let your hair hang loose, every worry and care left behind. Release all of the tension and prepare for deep reflection. It's all good in your neighborhood. Let the spirits dance around you. You know what you gotta do. Everything feels like it's wrong. Can't even sing a song, no. But this won't last for long, no, no, no. You are dealing with impermanence when life don't make sense. Take a deep breath. Take it with me. Release all of the tension and prepare for deep reflection. It's all good in your neighborhood. Yeah. Let the spirits dance around you. You know what you gotta do. You can make it feel good. I'll make it good, 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 good. I will change. That's how you play the game. Nothing stays the same. That's how you play the game. Here's my mantra, y'all. Say, good will turn to bad. Will turn to gratitude or anger. But when you let go of that sadness and you're breathing in, you're breathing in, you're breathing out. Yep, that's how the game is played. Check it. I know you might be struggling. You're trying to find your peace of mind, stay juggling. Every single fact is a setback or your back crack. Under all of that weight, you be stumbling. It won't take long to take up the chaos up inside your cranium precedes rest. Take a minute, no need to continue to be stressed. It's a test, everything will change. That's the way that you play the game, player. Everything is gonna change. Yeah. That's how you play. That's how you play the game. Oh, nothing stays the same. The same. Nothing stays the same, y'all. Oh, play the game. Yeah. Everything will change. Oh, that's how you play the game. Nothing stays, oh, nothing stays the same. That's how you play the game. Oh. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much to Women of the World.
Yeah. Oh, Demo.
Yeah, good.
You sing, girl.
Wow. Oh, God. Well, we know you. We know
You know
what you
me,
can
you
do.
know
We know you. We know you.
We know you.
Yeah.
We have been together for many years, and we know each other. We talk about
Everything.
millions and
All the
millions of
things.
things, and and we discussed also about
Yeah.
blackness, and so we would like to ask you, and to so you can talk to our fans, our audience. What is your experience of blackness, being of Haitian descent?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you again, ladies. I'm so happy to be doing this and to be having this conversation in more than just the proximity of the four of us. It's really
Right.
super cool. So thank you for this. So yeah, I am Haitian, or rather, I'm of Haitian descent. And when I say rather, that's because I was born in the United States, and as such, my family kind of put me into this mindset that I'm not quite Haitian. I'm American because I was born here. I'm from the United States because I was born here. So I can't really claim that Haitian culture. But at the same time, being born here and having this skin, I'm perceived as black. And black can mean a lot of different things to different people. Usually a lot of people will say, oh yeah, she's African American. That said, I don't necessarily fit into the cultural mindset of an African American because I was raised in an immigrant family. So it's the kind of interesting dichotomy between being of an immigrant point of view at odds with an African American point of view, and then all of that in a blanket statement, kind of like suppressed by non people of color who kind of just label me as whatever it is that they feel conveniently fits for that, for whatever occasion, for whatever they think. So my experience of blackness, it's been this kind of reclaiming of self-identity, trying to understand what does blackness mean, and if there is a negative connotation that I may have around blackness, where does that come from? Also learning my own history, learning where do I come from, tracing the lines back to Haiti, and then from there back to West Africa. Even though there's very little record of my family lines, it's still something that I feel I must do in order to find this semblance of like ownership of my blackness. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's an interesting life for sure.
It is, and you have been to Africa. Have you felt your roots somehow, if I may ask you?
Yeah, I did.
You
Yeah,
did?
I went to Senegal, and specifically, I traveled to the island of Gorée, which is one of the ports, the slave ports. So it was one of the places that had a gate of no return that slaves would exit out of that gate and go on to the boats that would take them to the Americas. So I had the opportunity, and I'm shaking a little bit because it just was
Yeah.
so mind blowing. But I had the opportunity to walk back through that gate and feeling like even though there's so much that I don't know, so much history that I need to learn about myself, about my family, about my people, there was still a sense of coming back home and almost like tying the cycle, ending that cycle, the negative cycle. Yeah, it was
Wow. You gave me chills. I don't think we knew
We
this
didn't know
story.
the story. I'm glad this was actually think even post the show. I want to dig deeper into this. Wherever you want to, however much you want to share with us, because this, wow, yeah.
Thank you for telling us
Thank
that.
Thank you so much for asking. Yeah. Ladies, I am so grateful, not only because I get to share my own stories, but I get to, see a bunch of other artists doing their thing. And this next artist warms my heart immensely. I love her. So I want to have everyone give it up now for Shay Rose. Go, Shay.
We have those like very intrinsic, beautiful characteristics: poise, grace, strength, and resilience. Thank you for that introduction. I'm going to share some poems with you all today. And the first one I'm starting with, it's about Black hair, the beauty and the rejection of Black hair. In my experience, ebony silk grow atop of my crown, spun from queen head, goddess wisdom, coarse, radical, and amplified, zigzagged in protesting and kissing the sun. A rare textile sprung from the well of ancient blood, souls with a moral compass. Hands that turned clay into pyramids, fists on top of my head, thread my psyche back together. Ragdoll, day after day, fight after fight. And who told you to smother lie on top of my little old black head? To bow down obedient, lay there and relax while you straighten everything out for me. My eyeballs were retracted way into the back of my nape, crouching in fear, as wafts of self-rejection billowed up from each chair. Blue petroleum and cream white lie, hot combs dipped in lava. The salon inferno, the delicate flesh burning at my temples, me sipping air bound from my mouth, my tongue, the taste of flames. and one nose hair falling down to its knees, weeping, smelling, mourning the tragedy of the lie on top of my little old black head. That was a tough one to write. It was. I didn't realize it was in there. That's the beauty of journaling and writing. It's like you put the pen to the paper and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that that was swirling around in there. But that was one of the first poems that I wrote this summer while contemplating all that was going on, the marches, the protests, and out of all the creative things that I do, the thing that I kept coming back to was the pen to the paper, and really unraveling and unleashing my words through poems. So it's a joy to be able to share them with you on this platform today. We all belong to the sun. It warms and burns us the same when my toe touched the earth. I feel love like you do. We all belong to the air. It suffocates and frees us the same when my palm touched the earth. I feel hope like you do. But that old chain game will wink at you and feed you envy with a smile. Preaching conflict, it's blasphemy. We all walk the same mile. Shoes, shoes, shoes. Shoes. Is this time now to despair? Patterns all bleed into one when my head hits the earth. I feel pain like you do. But that old chain game will wink at you and feed you loathing with a smile. Preaching conflict, it's blasphemy. We all walk the same mile. Shoes, shoes, shoes. The roads are wide open. We all get a pass. No more tokens are needed. We all get a pass. The roads are wide open, we all get a pass. No more tokens are needed, we all are gonna pass in our shoes. We all belong to one. Glory and grief, it tastes the same when my day comes. My color will remain. We'll have all walked the same in our shoes, 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 shoes. Shoes, meaning we all enter this life stage left and we all must exit stage right. So in that way, we have an experience that we are all forever connected to, and that is this evolution of birth and what's after birth. Not to get too depressed, but yeah, like what is it like to sit in somebody else's shoes and feel compassion for and look through their eyes and through their perception, and how do we have conversation in that way? So yeah, that's what Shoes is about, without getting too long-winded. Okay, I have one more poem to share with you all. Thank you so much, Ayumi and Annette and Deborah and Georgia, for this Knock Knock platform. I was so excited to get the email and the call. And so here we are. The cries, the ghostly cries of my ancestors echo in my veins, the blood of my veins, the sound of chains, bodies scraping against concrete. I feel them drowning in my veins sometimes, my cells clashing bone against bone, suffocating inside themselves, searching and thirsty for a way out. Freedom through my pores, pores that bleed sweat, sweat that bleeds tears. The bells are raging. The skies crack open and ancestors are weeping. The angels are screaming. The sirens. What do? I lay still inside my own womb and I swallow myself whole, reborn. My cells are walking up right now. My breasts are proud, my hair nappy and coiled in firm ringlets tight on top of my skull, dancing, bouncing, upright and proud. Proud because I can balance the balls of my feet on raindrops. Again, I swallow myself whole. And when I sing and open my mouth, nectar pours out. And my pink womb is fertile, sweet, sweet like cotton candy. It smells sweet like cotton candy. Eyes, mouths, and noses are all seduced by the wafts, the color. How free and light, and air and pink and purple I be now. Taste, swallow, sticky. Everybody is licking their fingers because eyes free, eyes free. Eyes free. Thank you so much.
Eyes free.
Shay!
Eyes free.
Oh my gosh, Shay! Wow.
Girl,
Shay,
you know I love you.
Thank you for this platform. I was not expecting to tear up.
Oh, man, yeah.
It happens
We're all
to us all the
waterworks here.
time.
So, Shay, you have gone through so many phases of what seems like a metamorphosis, through every phase of your life and your artistic persona. There's been a clear thread of intention and elegance, from like your edginess while you rap to the centeredness of your sound healing work. And the earlier images of your like huge, incredible hair to your present day, your look. By the way, you have like one of the most gorgeously shaped heads like on the planet.
Yes.
My mama rubbed my head. That's why.
Yeah, I just want to put it out there. Like, not everyone can pull that off, and you certainly do, honey. So from one Black woman to another, seeing you unabashedly yourself, no matter what the iteration, makes me feel like I have permission to be myself too. So first of all, thank you. Thank you so much. And secondly, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, about your metamorphosis, the why and the how of your internal and external metamorphosis?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was so beautiful. And I appreciate all that you said, from you witnessing this metamorphosis and what it looks like on the outside of myself. Inside of myself, however,
it was it's messy. It's challenging, trying to sort out identity and how you want to show up in the world, and especially as artists, putting yourself on the stage, and putting yourself out there. It's not, for me, it's never been so like, oh, I'm going to just get up and do this. It's always taken a lot of work. So I think it feels good to hear what it looks like out there, but inside, messy metamorphosis is what I would call it. That said, I feel like every iteration had just always been a true and honest reflection of where I am in that moment. So it was never like something I thought about too much or put a lot of like, what do you call it? Like, let me brand myself with an afro.
Like
Let me brand myself now with a strategy, or like fall of my head. I always felt like I was showing up for myself and honoring myself in the way that I needed to at the time. So in that way, no boundaries. I want to sing rock today. I want to try jazz today. Let me try opera. Okay, let me shave my head. I just wanted to be able to show up and still show up for myself and honor where I am in my process.
What a beautiful, beautiful way of just being and encouraging, especially other Black women, to just be. Thank you so much.
Thank you for rapping. When I heard that, I was like, hold on a minute. I was like, wait.
Yeah, well, I gotta, take a page from your book. I'm just saying.
I was so happy to hear.
Thank you so much, Shay.
Thank you, Shay. Love you.
You're welcome. Love
Miss
you too.
in just a little bit.
Yes, okay.
We have some amazing news. Early in the show, we mentioned that besides, of course, supporting each of our artists tonight, Women of the World, because this is a passion project, we were also asking for support to keep doing these productions. And we did a shout out to our first donors. And then we just got news that our amazing friend Drita from Mappa Translation sent us a massive donation right now. Thank you! Drita, we love you so much. We love you so much. We can't wait to see you. You mean the world to us, and your support has always meant so much to us. We will never forget how you drove to New York to be at the Blue Note when we played there, and I mean, just always you've just been so kind to us. So, Drita Mama,
Thank you.
We love you.
All the kisses.
All right, and now let's welcome our final act for the concert, George W. Russell Jr.
Yeah.
I choose to be an entity of love. That tune was called Waltz for Pop, and it's a tune that I wrote for my father, and it's a part of a suite that I wrote for my family called the Family Suite. Next, I'd like to do an old Negro spiritual entitled Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Wow.
George, where is George?
Hey.
George! Oh my God!
And George.
Yes,
Well,
you
that's
took
what
us
I
to
do.
church.
You can take the boy out to church, but you can't take the church out the boy.
The boy. Yes.
It's
Oh,
amazing. Oh
George.
my God. I remember taking George's harmony class while I was at Berkeley with Gio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to continue taking your class, but you were so popular then, I couldn't, I only could take one harmony class with you. But I was sad, but you've been so inspiring, so kind, so open, and so funny, and so supportive, and we love you and we respect you so
Well,
much. So
it's
thank you for
indeed a
being with
pleasure
us
to be with
tonight.
you, ladies. I've got so much love for each of you. individually and collectively. And I am very, very grateful for your presence in my life too. And thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. So we have a question that we would like to ask you. So you have such a beautiful family, and I know from personal experience that family is so important to you.
Absolutely.
And you have 4 children, and 2 of whom are biracial. And have you noticed yourself adapting your parenting skills to raise your children, considering they come from a mixed heritage?
Well, as you're right, I have 2 children who are biracial, and then I have 2 other children who are black. I have my oldest son George. He actually, unfortunately, him and I are very similar. He went to Berkeley, and he's this kind of jovial kind of guy. He definitely has his own personality, but you know, he's there. And my oldest daughter, who's actually currently in at Harvard, going to the Harvard Law School, and both of them are very aware of their blackness from the very beginning. As a matter of fact, her name is Zoe. She's going to law school because she wants to be a voice piece for the little brown and black children who have no one to speak for them. And so that is her passion, that is her love. So they are very much aware of who they are and their blackness, and from the beginning. However, my 2 children who are biracial, we taught them to grow up and honor my wife's side of the family, they're white, and honor my side of the family also. And the conversations about that, and the fact that when they left our house, they were going to be viewed as black children, regardless, or black people as they grew up. And so, there was a little bit more conversation around that as compared to my other 2 children. And, for my son, my youngest son especially, it took him a little while to catch on, because in his mind, he's like, well, I remember him saying this, he was maybe 4 or 5. He goes, well, since mom is white and I came from mom, doesn't that make me white too? I said, no, Blake, doesn't quite work that way, buddy. But he's now 12 and has hit puberty, and him and I just went and had lunch today. We try to do that at least once a week, especially now during the quarantine when I'm home, or the pandemic, because we're not quarantined anymore. But him and I have a chance to talk and get real with each other about puberty, about being black in America, and we have those talks. And so, there's definitely a slight difference, and but we have no problem bringing up the issue of race. It's an opportunity for all of us to grow, because it's important that they recognize who they are, and that, to be honest with you, they need to first be kind and loving and considerate people. To me, that's number one. But the reality of it is that we live in a place where their skin color is an issue, and understanding how to do that in a focused and balanced way is very, very important, vital to their success too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, George.
You're welcome.
I feel you should ask George about how he disarms people with love.
Well, it's when I talk about disarming, and this is based upon my life's experience. When I walk into a space, I realize if I can get people to let their guard down, my ability to be able to have a positive encounter, a productive encounter with that person goes up drastically. And as a black man, oftentimes the guards are up when you walk into spaces, particularly white dominant spaces. Guards are up for whatever reason, whether it's fear, whatever reason it is. So I tend to go into that space and try to disarm. It could be a kind word. It could be a little humor, but something to try to disarm. And it's too bad that I have to grow up thinking that way when I walk into a space, but it is the reality. And so when I talk about being a loving entity, it kind of goes into that, because that's the way I choose to live my life, as a loving entity. It's a decision that I make to place the priorities and considerations of other people in front of mine. Uh, of course, not to my detriment, but let me give you two extreme cases. I can be kind and loving to somebody who I don't know by simply smiling or greeting with a warm hello, or if I'm walking into a door, maybe holding the door for them. To me, that is what being a loving entity is.
Right.
I can be a loving entity to my wife because every morning when I wake up, for me, I make it a point to think, what is it that I can do to let my wife know that I love her today? Okay. And it could be something simple like doing the dishes or making the bed, because I usually get up after her. Just something that she knows I'm considering her.
Yeah.
And I think that is very, very important and it's something that you have to decide every day. And I do it every day. I wake up and think, okay, I am going to be a loving entity today. When I'm driving in Boston traffic,
Oh boy.
okay, I don't have to, if that person cuts me off, I don't have to get mad and upset and curse them out and beat my horn. Why do that? And as I mentioned so many times in the past, where that relates to my blackness or racism, there are many tools that we need to defeat this insidious disease of racism.
Yeah.
Many tools in the toolbox. You need a hammer, and then you need some sculpting tools.
Yeah.
I see myself more as a sculpting tool, someone who likes to have nuanced conversation about issues, because I like to talk and get down to issues. I have no problem with that. But I think a nuanced conversation and like I said, to being that sculpting tool is also a weapon. And along with doing it with a loving heart and a kind heart, I think is very, very important. And it is empowering also. And it's so much less stressful to be a loving entity than this person that's just walking around hate with a chip on their shoulders all the time.
Amen.
So,
Yeah, that's right.
and so that's the way I choose to love. Now, it's work. It's a lot of work because people are a mess. People are a hot mess, and they will get on your last reserve nerve.
Right.
But but when they do that, you have the power. You can respond as opposed to reacting. When you react, you are giving that person the power over you. They are dictating your actions. But if you're responding, you're taking a step back and you're responding to that action, then you have the power. So,
yes.
I like to respond to things. I don't like to react. And I like to respond in a kind and loving way. Now, and that doesn't mean I'm anybody's doormat. I'm nobody's doormat. Let me make that very clear. But what
He
is
agrees,
also,
George.
what's that?
He agrees.
Oh, your cat?
So,
Love it. Love it, George.
It's
Love
just
it, George.
really important.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. And it's hard work. It's hard work to love.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to decide that.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to decide it every day. And I'm by no means saying that I am successful all the time. Because I'm a human being and I have my frailties and I fall. I fall short of the mark. But I try not to do it too much with my wife because, let's face it, I'm a guy, so I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do or say something stupid.
Oh my gosh.
I know that.
Are you just saying that because we're four women?
Well, you know what?
I'm saying that I speak truth. That's why I make sure I make what I call love deposits into my wife's account. Every day I got to make love deposits. I'm trying to tell y'all something. I'm making love deposits because I'm going to make a withdrawal just waking up.
Oh my god.
So I'm going to be sure my stuff is in the black. You hear me?
Oh my God,
yeah,
George!
I
It
know.
feels like we should call everybody back. What do you think, ladies? Okay,
Yeah,
let's
let's
get
bring it all
Shay and let's get Rohit And I think we're missing G-Jaw. We tried to reach it back out to G-Jaw. If you're watching, we are missing you, and we hope that you're
Come back,
okay.
yes.
Come back, come back. Anyone in our audience, if put out the word, and let's manifest that we get G-Jaw back in the conversation. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so happy to have Shay back as well. All
Hello.
Good
right.
to be back.
Love
Okay.
deposits.
Yes. Yes.
Love deposit.
Did Simone hear me, Shay?
Simone, I heard you. Actually, he's
Okay.
acting like he doesn't hear. I'm looking over here to my right.
All right. So, this is our time for our audience to ask our artists any questions that they have. And while our audience is reflecting, we also wanted to bring back our questions the questions that we started with in a slightly different format. So here they are again. What surprised you about our four artists? Did you hear something that reminded you of yourself? Is there something about Black culture you now feel curious to learn about? And does the word Black conjure up any new images? And while maybe the audience is thinking about that, Debo, George, Shay, we asked you all these big questions about identity and metamorphosis and othering and how to choose freedom. We want to just check in with you for a second. With all that's going on, how are you doing these days?
I want to kind of circle back to what you were talking about, George, making a conscious decision each day to decide that you're going to be an entity of love. And since March, I have found that I've had to make it a daily practice to wake up and write 10 reasons why I'm grateful. To be sure that I get a meditation in my day, to be sure that I get a walk in my day, and that these things are a part of my lifestyle to maintain emotional balance, mental balance, spiritual balance. So that's what's been keeping me together more and more. And I think prior to COVID, it was a choice. It was a freedom choice. Do I want to meditate today? No, I'm not really feeling that. It was one of those choices that she was talking about earlier. But now it's there's not a choice. It's about sustaining my whole being, and so I've had to stay really committed to those practices for myself, and that's what's kept me together during this time.
Agreed.
Yeah. I always say that faith, it is like maybe the key is not like the ring that brings together what's inside, what's outside, and having faith really can push you through. And meditation, faith, believing in something, like your inner, in order to then get out in a certain way. So I understand what you're saying, Shay, that now it's not, oh, I can do this. Maybe it's like I feel as a necessity of doing it, because otherwise it's just there's so much chaos. We don't control anything anymore at this time. Like we had to let go of everything that we knew. Not everything. So it's just, inside, really inside.
Yeah, there's no doubt this has been an extremely challenging time. And the one thing that has kept me is the fact that I know that there's things that we need to learn, and that there's a lot of growth that can take place in spite of all these challenges. Um, as Georgia just pointed out, there are so many things that are out of our control, and if you try to control things, you will lose your mind. And I try to ask myself these four questions every day. The first one was, okay, during this time, what is it that I need to learn? The next one is what can I do to be most productive during this time? Because I found out there's a lot of things that I could do during this time that I couldn't do normally. Like I walk several, well, I shouldn't say several, 2 or 3 miles every day. I'm not missing a day for the last 4 or 5 months, and it's been awesome.
That's great.
I have lunch with my son. I've played the piano. I forgot about that. Because my life doesn't give me the ability to practice the piano. And I haven't practiced the piano like this for a good 30 years. So there is some good things. Now, the third thing I ask myself is, where is I should say something else I ask myself is, what is it that I can do to be a help or a blessing to somebody else? Because I feel very fortunate. I don't have to worry about where my next meal is coming from. I'm living with almost all my kids, all except for one. I say it all the time. I get to be married to the most amazing woman in the world. We have internet, we have a piano, we have board games. So we have all the things that we need. So I'm good, but there are other people who aren't good. And so I look for opportunities to go and be a blessing to other people. So that's kind of what keeps me going through this time.
We're all collectively humming like we're in church.
Jijo style. Jijo style.
All
Ayumi,
right.
you were going to say?
Yeah, I think we can continue listening to you all for hours, but that's why we are going to keep doing this. And once again, Devo, Cher, George, and Gijo, we miss you, but thank you for being here. We are so grateful for all you shared today. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me, ladies.
Aw.
And one of the most amazing things about this is that I had several of you in my classes when you were students.
Yes.
And the most amazing thing is that I'm still 30 years old. And you guys are older than me. Isn't that amazing how that happened?
Not
No
quite.
idea.
My kids say, well, let him live in his own little world. And that's what I'm doing too. Thank you so much. I told you guys before, I have so much love for you, and I appreciate your person. I appreciate your artistry, and I appreciate your desire to want to create a platform like this. This speaks volumes about who you all are, and as a Black man here in America, this is awesome that you're taking the time and space to do this, and we here I'm speaking for all the Black people. We appreciate it so much. So thank you. But Deb, you know what that's like. Wherever we go, we got to speak for all the Black people.
We're just like, so I am going to be an
I
authority.
know all the Black people, and I know what they all think.
Exactly. So it's like all of them fit in my pocket.
Right. Like sometimes I just want to say, I don't know everybody. No, I'm not speaking for everybody.
And you see,
But
that's the reason why we wanted to do this.
I can't react like that. I have to respond.
That is when you're using the nuanced conversation.
Right, that's the nuanced conversation.
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay. And see, that's the reason why we're doing this, is because we want to break that stigma that all Black people are the same and we know each other.
Come on now.
There is a very similar experience that we share living in this country, facing these same issues. But still, there is so much to be said about every single person's story. So, George, Shay, thank you so much for being a part of this. And ladies, once again, thanks for letting me be a part of this too. Next time around, I'm back on the backstage.
And also a special shout out to Jijo. What she said was so powerful and so meaningful. Actually, it's something that I took away from the humming was, she talked about how when the elders in the church can't remember and that they hum anyway, right? And it felt also like, I think Georgia, Ayumi, and I have definitely gone through this where we are, not American, we're not African of any heritage like that. And we are often, we feel scared to say things. And I think Gijo's message, what it spoke to us was that even if you're not so sure, start humming, start saying, start doing something, like start taking action, at least in a small way, at least in educating yourself, at least in asking questions to those who are willing to have nuanced conversations, and start, so Gijo, a big hug to you, and yeah, hope you're okay, we miss you.
Yes.
Ah, all
And
right.
we want to extend that thank you to everyone who's watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. The whole purpose of this series is to have more and more people around the world have these conversations, especially with Women of the World. Our audiences are spanning from, I think Japan is watching now, India's watching now.
Yep.
So thank you for staying up as late as you did or waking up as early as you did to watch. So, as we come to a close now, we'd love to know any suggestions that you have of any other Black artists that we should know about and that we could potentially feature in our next Black Voices Amplified concert. Because this is a
Yeah.
series, y'all. This is a
And
series.
when will it be, Deb? Do we know that?
Yes, we know.
It's
It's going to
Friday,
be
Friday.
Friday, October
October.
23rd.
And please tell your friends, tell your family, and join us again for another round of incredible artists. Plus, it's almost my birthday at that time, so
Right.
I hope you will wish
Yes!
me happy
Go
birthday.
celebrate what
That's
you
right.
want.
That's right.
Do it up, Scorpio.
Yeah. And we also want to remind everyone again, please support our artists. Please support our artists. Look for their PayPal information. We have it in the chat for you. We want you to also spend time getting to know the depth and breadth of their artistry. I think what you saw today was just a glimpse of what they have to offer. So definitely spend time delving into their creative offerings. And we would like to leave you with one very simple thought. As Jay Smooth says, working on matters like racism is actually like brushing your teeth. And we brought our toothbrushes out for you to remember that. Just like we don't brush our teeth only once in a lifetime and say, okay, I brushed my teeth, I'm done. It doesn't work that way, right? Every day we choose stuff. We might drink coffee. We might eat Nutella. We might get spinach wedged in our teeth. We are living, evolving beings. And so we brush our teeth at least once a day. Dentists suggest twice a day with flossing. And it is the same kind of work that is needed if we're not only supposed to be anti-racist, but if we are to work towards ending racism, we have to keep at it, just like hopefully we're all brushing our teeth. So let's keep doing it. Let's keep having dialogue. Let's keep educating ourselves. Let's keep giving ourselves permission to make mistakes, because we will. And let's keep moving forward.
So let's give a final round of applause for our artists.
Thank
And
you,
very
thank you.
importantly, we want to thank three very dear friends of ours who joined our WOW crew to produce this show. Our designer, Vidya Reynolds, and our mastering engineer, Simone Skatsokyo, and our production manager, Rohit Jayaram.
Yeah, Joe! Row, 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 row.
Yeah. Black Voices Amplified is a part of Women of the World Knock Knock Productions. To support this production, donate directly to our Women of the World PayPal account. And thank you all for making time to join us today, and stay in touch. Yay!
Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Peace.